Welcome, movie fans. Thanks for joining us for episode 132 of Reading Between the Reels, the premier podcast of ignoring the fact that you have two children. If you're a new listener, we're so glad you found us. If you've been enjoying the show, please like, follow, and subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can also support the show by posting on your socials and by joining our Facebook group. I'm Greg Dickinson, and I'm joined tonight by Corey Heitschmidt. He's back. And Justin Eldon. What's up, fellas?
I'm back.
Corey is here.
Brand new knee. I am part bionic. They said we think we can build him stronger and faster and on a budget. So yeah, I'm back.
There you go. Nice.
Is it an adult knee or is it a kid knee?
Wow.
That's good.
I applaud your pun.
There's a whole joke that goes with that, but I can't ever remember the rest of it, so I just have to use that part.
He's back with the slaps and all. There it is. All right. Corey, since it's been forever, I'm going to start with you. What have you been watching in the last week or so that you want to talk about?
Craig, you know what? Since I've been pent up with this knee surgery, and then so I have just been moving through some dang shows on TV. And anyway, so I've been going through a bunch of old shows and watching. I'm going to tell you about one that I just watched last night that I absolutely loved, and I was thinking about it when I was watching it. And it was a show that was made for $8 million, only did $5 million at the box office, contains one of the best actors of all time, John Candy. It's this movie called Delirious.
Okay.
And he is a soap opera writer who gets hit in the head and then finds out he's in the soap opera, and he is able to, whatever he writes on his typewriter becomes reality. And so he writes himself as this hero in the scene all the time and makes this big grandiose entrance and saves somebody, the girl that he loves. And then he forgets to write himself out. And so he like rides in on a horseback like a stud. And then he has to like ride back to the stable. And he's like, oh my gosh, he's like falling off the horse. Anyway, it's a hilarious movie. It did not do well. The box office was kind of but it's typical picture perfect. Like you watch John Candy on screen, and you can't help but love his face and his mannerisms and everything he is. And it had a ton of famous people in it. Robert Wagner was in it. So, you know, I mean, it was a great show. It was very soap opera. And I think the part of the show, if you went thinking it was going to be just this comedy, that's one thing. But when you went into it thinking, no, it's supposed to be over the top. And with this music, the music alone in the show was incredible because it's soap opera. Right? And so you've got to have this whole scenes developed with music all the time. And so watching it from my eyes now, thinking about the things that we always talk about in movie elements, I fell in love with the show again. And it's John Candy, so how could you not? So anyway, so there's my show that I watched yesterday.
Nice. Well, let
I
me ask you,
get the vibe that John Candy would give really good hugs. Does anyone else feel that way?
Gosh,
of course.
it was the best.
I was going to ask,
Looks like
so
he'd give good hugs.
I'm assuming you saw this on Prime, right? Because Prime loaded up a bunch of John Candy stuff. Because they also have... Oh, okay.
No,
I saw it on Prime.
What I saw it on, it's a new app I just downloaded called Tubi.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And
Tubi's great.
I had never used Tubi, but and it's dialed in now because all these shows I've been liking and watching. And so it's dialed into my childhood right now. And I'm getting all these amazing shows. And so I'm watching, and it's got like a 30-second commercial, like 2 times through the movie. But totally worth it.
Yeah,
and they're all free.
Mm-hmm.
So
they should totally be a sponsor. Come on, Tubi.
Absolutely, Tubi. Because I watched Apocalypto. I absolutely love that movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
Gosh. Anyway, yeah, there's tons of free movies on there.
Well, the reason I asked about
Apocalypto
Prime...
is one of those movies that, like, they don't explore that time period. There's, like, no movies about that.
No.
Like, early colonial... I mean, we don't have a lot of history for that time, but I don't care. Just make something up. It's cool. Yeah. Like, let's explore that more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Justin, I'm going to come to you in a second, but I wanted to just talk real fast about... On Prime, there is a documentary, and I wanted to kind of plug this, and that's why... it's a new John Candy documentary. I think Ryan Reynolds is one of the producers on it, called I Like Me, I think. And it's like a biography of John Candy with lots of interviews with people he'd worked with from forever. So, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Eugene Levy are on there, and his kids. And it's really good. If you're a fan of John Candy at all, highly recommend, because it's really great. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I love John Candy. There's a reason, like, it came across on screen. He was a genuinely good dude.
And he was known as the nicest guy in Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody had just nothing but great things to say, except for Bill Murray, but he was being sarcastic, which was classic Bill Murray. So that's really cool. I would check that out.
Yeah.
Justin, what have you been watching?
So I use October to watch scary movies. So that's what I did this year. And I went down and I'm like, you know what? I've never seen Child's Play. You know, the Chucky movies. I've never seen any of those. Turns out there's a crap ton. So I just watched them all and just kept waiting for them to get good. And I waited and I waited. And I'm like, these have to be popular for a reason. I don't think there is a reason.
No.
If anyone can tell me a reason, to the best of my knowledge, they're not funny enough to be parody, but they're not scary enough to be horror. So I don't know what's going on. Like it was a letdown. And they're old, and I usually assume some franchises lasted that long is good, and it's just not.
Oh, that's sad.
So I watched that. I also watched Companion, if any of you have ever seen that. So that came out, I feel like it kind of came out under the radar, because it just kind of looked like a sort of a generic filmish. So that came out this year, like earlier this year. If you haven't seen the trailer, don't watch the trailer. Because I think it would be a much, much better movie if it was not for the trailer. Well, it would be more surprising if not for the trailer. But it has some great actors. So Jack Quaid, who's in The Boys, and I think he's great and hilarious, and he does a good job in here. Sophie Thatcher, who's in this and Heretic, and what else is she in? She's in something else. Anyway.
Yeah, she looks real familiar. I couldn't place her either, but...
Yeah, she's in something on Netflix. Anyway, she's great. It's a good movie, good watch, lots of surprises, and then it doesn't. I don't know. It was more fun than I expected. I expected it to be a film that I could just watch and kind of be on my phone at the same time. But it has some fun twists and good writing, and it's kind of dark humor. And anyway, I really like it. If any of you listen to Black Mirror or watch Black Mirror on Netflix, it feels like a feature film length episode of Black Mirror, but with a little bit of humor. So yeah, really good. Give it a watch. I don't want to spoil anything in there, but it's great.
Yeah, I watched it too on Justin's recommendation. I enjoyed it.
Just looking up Chucky there, I didn't realize that Brad Dourif is the guy who voices Chucky and everything. Who's the guy in Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. Yes.
This guy, that's a major. Wow.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
I didn't know this because I hadn't seen the movies before, but he's like the serial killer at the beginning that gets struck by lightning not struck by lightning, but transfers his soul into Chucky.
Oh, okay.
And it was oh, hey, Wormtongue, what you doing here, buddy? Yeah, I didn't know that either.
And he's the only guy who has voiced Chucky in all the shows, movies, iterations, and everything.
Is it him throughout? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's not good. If someone wants to let me know why it's good, they can try, but I was what am I missing here?
Okay.
Do you think he has a Chucky doll at his house? Because it would be kind of creepy.
He probably has some Chucky merch in his house, I would assume.
I don't think I'd be able to sleep with that in the house. A
Just
Chucky
the royalties
doll.
off that have probably sustained him for his entire life.
I think I'd be that'd be weirded out by that. Yeah. These people who do these horror movies, do they have a, we have figures, action figures and things, on my Transformers, whatever. You think they have horror stuff in the back? It'd be kind of freaky.
Is it cheap to have your own merch? Maybe to wear it on your head?
I mean,
like a hat?
Now available on TeePublic.
Chucky doll creeps me out. This is the kind of question. Do people have weird stuff in their house like that? These actors.
Seriously, we have lots of merch on TeePublic. Justin, thank you.
I bet they do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just going to plug that real quick.
We got shorts and T-shirts and sweatshirts and whatnot. Since
Craig,
no one asked me, I'm
you,
going to jump. Oh, thank you.
I
There you
just
go.
said it.
I asked you.
Okay, so I've been watching a couple of shows. I've been kind of just going through Prime and figuring out what I like on there because the algorithm is kind of fun. And there was a new show that dropped, and it dropped all at once, which I probably should have. That should have been a big warning, because usually it's week to week on Prime. It's called Lazarus, and it stars Sam Claflin, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He played Finnick Odair in the Hunger Games movies, and he's been in some other things. You'd recognize him if you saw him. Anyway, he's the star, and I love him. He's a good actor, and it's kind of a Bill Nighy's in it too. The guy that played Davy Jones. There's a couple guys from Pirates of the Caribbean. He plays his dad, and his dad dies under mysterious circumstances, and he thinks it looks like he was suicide. But then the ghost of the dad comes and talks to him, and he's like he's seen all these ghosts and supposed to solve all the crimes. And it started off really, really good. Like it's like 6 episodes. The first 3 episodes, fantastic. Ended horribly, just awful. So
this a season or a miniseries?
It's a one-off, just mini series, 6 episodes. Like I said, it starts really good production value, good acting, and then at the end, like the writing takes just some weird turns, and you're just like, oh man, you did not stick the landing, and it
they
just
jumped
really
the shark or what? What they
no,
do?
I think it kind of betrayed where it was going. Because it was always giving you these different reveals all the way through, and kind of like a reframing things. Like his twin sister had also died of supposedly murder, and he's trying to figure that out too, and then at the end you're like, what? No, So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Not worth a watch.
I'd say not worth a watch, just because it ended so horribly.
Okay,
but. On the other hand, on the plus side, speaking of scary stuff, they just started the It Welcome to Derry prequel series on HBO Max. So if you're a fan of the Andy Muschietti 2017 films, 2017 and like 2019, I believe, the It films, it's in that same universe, and Andy Muschietti actually directs like the first 4 episodes. It's Bill, right? Bill Skarsgård's the one that plays Pennywise.
One of the Skarsgårds.
Yes, pretty sure it's Bill. Is back. He hasn't showed up through 2 episodes. He has not showed back up yet. But it's real good, and something that's really fun. And this is maybe a minor spoiler, but apparently it's been around for a while, so I'm gonna throw it out anyway. Is that if you've seen The Shining, Dick Hallorann, who works in the Overlook Hotel, is in this series. So this squarely puts The Shining and It in the same universe. Which is cool.
Was that a thing before? Is that like a fan theory or something?
I'm not 100% sure on it, but it's official now. And I think, because this is...
and The Shining are in the same universe together.
Yep. But, there's been lots of theories about how things like the Stand and Pennywise, and the character from The Stand, the walking dude is like the same guy that shows up in the Dark Tower. And there's a bunch of like multiverse stuff that has been fan theoried for a while, but this is like puts firmly it is the same character who will later be at the Overlook Hotel, and timeline wise this kind of works. This is in 62, I believe, so this fits where but it would be in the same universe as the Jack Nicholson film, whereby in 1980 he'd be there. So
that's the only Shining I recognize, right?
Yeah. So it's all tied to that, and then of course it would be tied to Dr. Sleep, which we need to talk about at some point. But
that movie freaked me out though.
Yeah. So
The Shining.
I've not seen The Shining.
Ever?
We're gonna fix that, Justin.
Oh,
I know.
But if you're a fan,
if you're a fan of it again,
yeah, it's great. It's really good.
It's weird.
And then the last thing I'm gonna throw out, because Justin and I found that we had both watched this movie recently without talking to each other. You're gonna like this, Corey. The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
Yes, you just watched it, or you're going to.
I just watched it. First time.
Did you just love Henry Cavill?
Yes.
I just love him. I love the man.
Did you just love Henry Cavill?
I do.
You sound like a grandma trying to set me up with your grandson or something.
Henry Cavill.
Armie Hammer is incredible in it too.
He's really good.
And they're dynamic. Their chemistry together, you cannot fake it. The only other person I've seen Henry Cavill have that kind of chemistry with is Ben Affleck.
It made me mad that I feel like Henry Cavill gets snubbed so often for roles.
Why?
What the heck? This guy is so... Yeah. And I felt like that whole movie was him going hey, don't I look good in a suit? I should be James Bond. That was the whole movie. It was an audition.
He should be James Bond.
He looks like James Bond.
Yeah, come on. Villeneuve, you're right there. Yeah,
I mean, the only thing about it that the Man from U.N.C.L.E. that it just gets me a little bit is that it's just so much old tech, right? Being
supposed to be.
I know, but it's
set in the 60s. That's the beautiful thing.
I need these spy movies to be set now in a modern time.
No,
so we can get
Corey
stuff and.
Yeah,
like,
I
like
like it
First
when
Class,
spy
same kind of
movies
deal.
are old and they're
Historical,
forced
'cause-
to like use that stuff. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I do too. Period piece, man. Give it
It
to
was
me.
a great movie. I love it. I think Cavill needs more spy type movies like this in roles, or he needs a Justice League 2 to come out. Either one, I'll take them both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it when they take films and they make like they take like a genre like a spy movie and put it in a different time period. Like give me like a spy movie but in like medieval times or something too. That'd be sick.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Or like
Okay.
Transformers, but
Oh,
But with
I'm on
like
board.
King
I'll
Arthur,
watch every one of them.
caveman. Oh wait, they already did that. I was
they
just
did
making-
all of these things.
Never
Now
mind.
we're on a shoot off with Henry Cavill. Enola Holmes. His Enola Holmes shows are good. Have you seen those? No. Those have been good.
I have
You gotta
not,
watch
but
that.
that's because I don't like that actress.
He's working on Enola Holmes 3. Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
he's in
Millie
it.
Bobby
What's her
Brown.
name?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, Millie Bobby. I don't know.
11.
She just
He's doing
makes it-
Highlander, which we did a show
Highlander
on.
with Chad Stahelski and that, and Russell Crowe's in that, and a bunch of. I think is Dave Bautista in that. I think.
That
Did they
could
confirm
be... If
I think
they
that could be
do this good,
amazing.
that could be an amazing...
It's
like,
John Wick
Highlander
meets
2,
Highlander
3
with
coming...
Henry.
Yeah, like,
Give
right?
it to me. Mm-hmm. Yes, that could be
mean,
great.
Let's just hope.
All right. Hey, you know what we should
great
talk about?
idea, poorly executed. Let's redo that. Make more movies like
Yes,
that.
more of that.
We should talk
should be
about
a-
something else, though.
Yeah, let's talk about Interstellar.
Oh yeah, that's
Interstellar.
what I was
Let's
ready
do
to
this
talk about.
whole thing of like Christopher Nolan movies. Yeah, so that's where we're at. We're at Interstellar now from 2014. We've moved. We're on beyond the no more Batman films, which is kind of weird, right? Because that's kind of where Nolan people came to like. He's the guy that makes the Batman movies. No more Batman movies from him. So we are on to Interstellar. And Corey, I'm gonna start with you because it's been a while. Overall thoughts on Interstellar?
Let me just tell you this. Of all the Nolan films that we talked about, we're going to talk about, this is by far the best one. Okay. I love this movie. Everything about this movie. And I will say when we were getting ready for this and I popped on the movie on Amazon Prime and I was like, I immediately did what I do. I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, 2 hours and 34 minutes. Doggone Nolan. And the guy, like we've said before, let him cook is what the studio says. They just say, Christopher, does it have to be over 2 hours? And he's like, yes, that's how long it takes to tell my story. And he did it again. 2 hours, 34 minutes, and it just keeps going. But after you get into some of the scenes, you're just caught up in there and you forget, okay, 45 minutes just passed by like nothing. So, this movie I think is brainy. I think being a science teacher and sometimes shocked at the science knowledge of the world on social media that I've seen, to where people freak out about this three-eye atlas and the moon landings and flat earth, to see Christopher Nolan write this piece and put this piece out there where it has such scientific like premise in it that is really accurate on some things, blows me away. So he does it in such a great job. It's big-hearted. I think the physics behind it is incredible. Some of the things and the parts, there's so many different things we're going to talk about, but the plot is so deep and so intense, and it just goes on, and painful parts and then exciting parts, and then so it's just an incredible movie. I absolutely loved it. I think he absolutely knocks this one out of the park. Of all the Nolan movies that we've seen and we've talked about as guys, but this one by far is the number one, the one that I could rewatch. And does anybody not watch that little scene on when the Endurance gets blown up? Matt Damon blows it up, and then he's like, "We have to dock again." Oh, it's impossible. No, it's necessary. Like anybody else, just watch that every time it comes on. You're like, oh, hold on, I gotta watch this scene. Like you just
No,
have
because
to
I
watch
need
it.
to breathe, and I can't breathe when I'm watching that scene.
Like that scene.
Such a good
Every
scene.
single time. If I'm scrolling through like TikTok and that comes on, pause. I'm watching it. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. It's just the music, the feeling, the emotion, the rush, everything in that scene is absolutely incredible. So, and we're gonna talk
that
about that
scene
with sound.
might be the best blend of like score and cinematography and acting like I've ever seen. Holy
It
crap!
is
Like
great.
it is
Yeah,
so.
you tell me any other
stressful.
scene in movie history that ever puts all of the elements together in one moment
Yeah.
that gets you like that movie. That
Yep.
scene alone. And here's the other proof. I was watching it, finishing it up today. My son comes home from school, walks in the room and says, "Oh, you're watching Interstellar?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I love this movie." He goes, "One of the top 10 movies of all time." 16-year-old kid said that. Just walked in and saw it and said it. So, I mean, that kind of gives you an element of the generational gap this movie's able to transcend. Here's a 16-year-old who watched it and said, that's one of the top 10 movies of all time.
Yeah. That's pretty great. Corey, so usually we ask, and I think it's just a good point to ask too, for you watch this not on your phone?
No, Craig, now listen. I know you guys like to make fun of how many times I watch shows on different things. I actually watched all of it on my phone, okay? And I'm going to explain why. Well, one, I've had knee surgery, okay?
I know.
And so I'm laid up, and I have glasses, and my glasses were in the other room, and the TV is just a little fuzzy. And
Okay.
I actually had it because I was like this. For those who can't see, I was like this with my phone, and I was
we're doing
able to
video
just
now. There you
watch
go.
it, you know? And because I wanted to see it so detailed and so close. I'm sitting there icing my knee, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Christopher Nolan. So,
Yeah.
so there you
Well,
go, okay?
let me-
You can make fun of me
That's
all
fine.
you want,
No,
but
you-
listen.
You had a reason. So I asked Justin this earlier. Did you get to see this movie in the theater? Because I did not, and I think Justin said he didn't get to see it in the theater either when it first came out.
I did.
I really want to badly because I think
And-
this movie just cries out for being seen. on
This
the biggest
movie
screen
could be a
possible.
re-release into theater type movie.
Please.
And I tell you the thing about it that gets me, one,
might
it
have
has
been.
time travel. I absolutely love time travel movies. Anything with time travel, I'm on board, which means Christopher Nolan's my hero because he does it in everything. And then
I mean,
Yeah.
technically, it's not time travel.
yeah,
It's time dilation.
It's time dilation.
Time
Because
dilation.
no, because it is time travel. It's a bootstrap paradox. And so, but the other thing with this movie is, you tell me what movie does this. You've got Hans Zimmer scoring it. You've got the music. You've got the noise of theaters, of shows, you know, background noise. The riggers are always doing, you know, they're making all the noises and everything. The moment it switches into space shots and you're outside the Ranger, right? It goes, and I listened for it this time. It absolutely is pure silence.
Yes.
Like, it's almost as if like something broke on your phone or your TV, whatever you're watching on. It's just pure silence. And it's stunningly quiet. And I remember that in the theater thinking how bizarre it is to be watching. And then here's a scene outside of the spaceship and just silence. But that's space. That's how it works. There is no sound to travel. Even when the explosion happens on the Endurance, it
Still
goes
a bunch of my stuff, but yeah, these are all good things.
silence. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. I didn't mean to, but I can't help it. Thank
No,
you,
it is
Christopher
great.
Nolan.
It's so
Hey,
good.
Corey.
Sorry, stealing all the
obvi-
thunder.
Yeah, you're gonna ask
Obviously,
about the thingy.
I know what it is, but like for those people in the audience that don't know,
Yes.
again, I know.
Yes.
Yes.
So do
Yeah,
I.
for the audience, what is
However-
a bootstrap paradox?
Okay, so the bootstrap paradox is absolutely brilliant. Best place I've ever seen it
I just want to
described.
point out that I know.
Yes, I know you do. So for the audience, Doctor Who is the only one that ever did it the best way. But the
Okay.
whole point, but this one does it the best way. If Cooper goes into the black hole and then saves humanity, right? And then because he saves humanity, the future people come back and then put the Tesseract in the black hole to save him.
Okay, so the paradox. Yeah.
Who
Like
was
Terminator.
the first? Where was the first one to ever begin? And so somebody had to do the work, the bootstrap. Pull up your bootstrap and do the work. Somebody had to be the first in the cycle to do the work to create it. But you never have that because if the future people didn't save him in the black hole, he would never have survived to invent to save humanity to then become the people.
Right.
Okay,
so
so it's like the
somewhere-
Kyle Reese, John Connor,
It's, I was
Terminator.
gonna
It
go
is.
with the Terminator. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the bootstrap. So somebody is the work that had to be done, but nobody knows who did the work. So the work just appeared and was done.
Or is time even linear? Perhaps
Well,
time is.
time is a
They
flat
make
circle.
it linear in this
Circular.
movie. They go, this is a Back to the Future, time is linear progression. That's the difference. This isn't a Marvel Avengers different branches of reality. This is a straight linear Back to the Future because he's the ghost in the past. And so everything in here, and you can't go into the past. They make a point to say that. You can't travel to the past.
No, but that was a theory.
But you can use
we don't know
gravity.
But gravity can't.
But gravity can't.
And love.
Gravity can go in the
Both of those
and
things
love.
travel through time.
This is just a simple
And
Back to
love.
the Future past
not simple at
timeline. It's very simple. Come on.
Oh goodness, Justin, give me your overall thoughts, please.
Are we still there? Holy cow.
We're still there. This is why we split this into two.
I'm going to agree with Corey. Well, I really like Christopher Nolan movies, so like it's hard to say this.
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, but I think I said that about Memento and Prestige at the same time.
You like it though.
Top 10 Christopher Nolan movie.
Top 10.
I really, really, really like this film. And it is like everything good about Christopher Nolan just works in this film. Like the time dilation stuff going on, the way like the cinematography and the score and like the practical effects work really, really well here. The couple times that practical effects aren't used, I feel like it hurts a little bit. Like, oh man, that doesn't look great. But it's so infrequent that it's fine. And then just everyone's acting is on point. I definitely think Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey is absolutely the perfect choice here. Like he does
so good.
A fantastic job. I don't think anyone could have brought that like he seems like he knows what he's doing. He seems like, yes, I am the man qualified for this job, but also has like the loving father vibe going into him.
Yeah.
So yeah, just overall the film does such a fantastic job. My one gripe, and I think it's just the one, is I don't exposition. It drops a lot of exposition all the time, constantly. And unfortunately, Cooper is the guy on the mission to get the exposition. He's the everyman. So they're like informing Cooper of stuff that he definitely should have known prior to the mission. And it's just like, no, Cooper should have known about this before. This doesn't make sense to be telling him this now. But at the same time, the movie's so complicated that you can't like expect people to get degrees in astrophysics or I don't know, something before coming to watch the film.
You
So
must
how
be
else
this
are you
smart
gonna
before
explain
entering
it?
the film. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how else you would do that, but maybe like another crew member that is there for some other purpose but knows nothing about black holes and gravity and space travel. So maybe that guy gets the exposition. But it was just weird that like this very experienced guy that, he was a pilot. He wasn't necessarily like a scientist like the rest of them. I feel like he would still have a pretty basic understanding. Like for example, the black hole moment where he's just like, I always thought black holes were flat. And the guy's like, well, what's
wormhole?
a flat object like in 3D space? Oh, it's a sphere. It's
Two-dimensional.
Like, you would have known that.
The wormhole is a circle or a globe or sphere or whatever.
Well,
Sphere,
You got a point. I think no, because I agree with Justin here. Like they bring in when he goes to NASA that Justin's talking about. Like that whole thing is just a narration, like catching up, everybody explaining what's going on, rather than have a narrator tell about the situation and the scenario. Justin's right. Like there's a lot of narration there. They're explaining to him, but they're leaving out little bits that he should have known more.
I'd rather have that
and
narrator
Justin.
though.
No, I don't want a narrator, and I know like some of it you could have dropped. Like maybe they walked in on like a lecture, and you have like the guy up front lecturing. It would have been weird to drop that much exposition throughout the film, and it would have made it a little bit clunkier, not as tight in terms of like editing and character development. But at the same time, Cooper, I don't feel like Cooper was the guy to have to get all that. Like, hey man, you're leading the mission, but yeah, let me tell you how time dilation works. Like I feel like he should know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I spent that whole time talking about gripes. The movie's awesome. I love the movie. The movie's amazing.
But that's what we're
probably
doing, critical thinking.
one of the closest things to like a perfect movie we
it's
have. Like
really
Christopher
dang close.
Nolan definitely hit his stride with this bad boy.
Yeah. So just a couple things. I love this movie too. So that's, all of us do. But just a couple things I want just notes, just for context. We do have, I know that it gets a lot of business. Sometimes it gets business for not being scientifically accurate or whatnot. But there is a theoretical physicist named Kip Thorne who was the scientific consultant on the film, wrote the book, the science of Interstellar. So it's based on theory, obviously, but it's not like they're just like making up stuff as they go. So it does have quite a bit of credibility in that regard.
Their black hole took 100 hours to render, and the photo came out after this movie. Interstellar was in 2014.
Photo was freaking close.
Photo was freaking on the money for what the black hole looks like. So
there you go.
I'm just saying.
So some other exactly. Some other things. Again, gripes, but gripes in favor of Interstellar. So this is nominated for 5 Academy Awards, 1 Best Visual Effects because but also nominated for Best Score, but lost to the Grand Budapest Hotel. Okay, which it also lost
Never watched
production
that.
design for. No.
I feel like when these things get awards, they're just like, we really have to give this award to some movie nobody's ever heard of. That's
and nobody's going to watch.
Yeah. Well, and sound editing, it lost to American Sniper, which is a good film. And sound mixing to Whiplash, which I've not seen, but I've heard is great. But I'm just like, all of those things in this film are amazing. So I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Anyway.
The sound jump. Oh no, that's terrible. Those are,
Okay.
I don't put any stock in Hollywood awards. None.
So here's my big, except for when we get to Oppenheimer, and then you get them all. So here's my big.
I only agree with it when I agree with it.
One of my takeaways, though, is, and I love when things like, speaking of Back to the Future, in this film, time is the antagonist.
Yeah.
And I love that that's kind of this heady thing. There's not really, I mean, we have man, but he's kind of a way secondary, tertiary, whatever, way down the line antagonist. And then you have gravity is both an ally and an enemy, depending on the context. And that somehow, and we'll get to this when we get to dialogue too, that love is a measurable force. And it saves the human race 2 times. It saves it with, with Coop trying to get a hold of Murph and her keeping the watch, which we'll talk more about that next week when we talk about, or next time we talk about props and stuff. But also with Brand, right? And that she is because of love, she wants to go to that planet, and that's the planet ends up being the one where that version of the human race is going to survive. So in a hard,
which is funny. They would have gone to Brand originally if Cooper didn't poo-poo the idea of like love being a thing.
Really interesting.
Okay,
yeah.
but-
So she was right.
And then later he uses love to like save people.
Yeah. So let me just finish this real fast, of course. So this is it's a hard sci-fi movie, very intellectual, and yet the emotion of love is the thing that saves them. And I just think that is a really interesting contrast.
And it's not quite so much a love story like between a man and a woman, but between a father and his daughter.
Yep.
Right? And that's the pervasive. That's why there are several scenes in this dang movie where I tear up. Like Christopher Nolan makes me cry a couple times. So because having a daughter, I'm like, oh my god.
If you have kids, yeah, especially a daughter.
No, I had to.
A redhead daughter.
Like my kids were asleep when I watched this, but like I had to pause this movie twice and like go hug my sleeping kids. Like, I'll never go into a black hole. I love you forever. We would all suffocate together.
That's right.
Also, humanity would definitely not want any of us to go do this, so we're
I'd do
fine.
it.
Like,
I'd do it.
Like, you guys are killer podcasters. You should definitely go on this mission.
There we go.
I agree.
All right, let's dig into the
accept America.
cinematography and get down to some of the things that specifically that we like. I do need to note at this point that we have to say goodbye to Wally Pfister, who had done the cinematography for all of Nolan's previous films. We've moved on. We got a new cinematographer now, Hoyte van Hoytema, who will have from the next. That's his. I believe he's Dutch. He does the next several films. He'll be the guy that'll take us through Oppenheimer and wins an Academy Award for Oppenheimer, and I believe he's doing the Odyssey as well. So, but I didn't notice really any difference too much between. I think Pfister's great too. So, but let's get into composition, color, camera work, guys. What are some of the things that you noticed? And anybody just jump in when you're ready.
Okay, so I feel like this movie's tough because you are making a lot of images and you're dealing with a lot of like cinematography of things that actually exist that we don't know what they look like, but they exist.
Yeah.
So you have to like take so much reality and blend it with so much imagination and make it visually appealing while at the same time not making all the nerds really, really mad that are going to get mad no matter what you do. I love you, nerds. I support you. That's what you do. I would too if I knew that much about science. But I've not knowing anything about this. We should have had a science teacher on here. Like, we got ELA and history and math. Where's a science teacher?
I'm about to talk about it. Go ahead.
You are a science teacher now. Okay.
I am.
You were a math teacher.
Yeah.
You were forever a math teacher in my brain.
Yeah.
But in terms of cinematography, I thought it was so cool. That scene where the ranger is going into the black hole, and it is like traveling along like a spherical. It looks like he's just traveling like along like a spherical road. Like there's a definite curve to it, and then as the ranger slows down, the event horizon, as it slows down, it like flattens out and unfurls. And I don't know what that camera trick is called. Craig, you could probably. It reminds me a little bit of the dolly zoom. What's that? What's that called?
Yeah,
where you
the
zoom
dolly
in
zoom.
while you're pulling the dolly back. It looks a little bit like that, but different. And it just looks so amazing. It does it twice. It does it right at the beginning, the first time they go into the event horizon, and then at the end.
That's Van Hoytema again, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like a fantastic effect.
It's a two-dimensional representation of a 3D sphere, though. That's why it has that curve, because it's actually just a disc in a sphere. Anyway.
Yeah, and it looked great. It was the first time I watched this time it kind of gave it away, but when he makes it onto when they make it onto man's planet, like the cold one, the one that's all icy and white, it's supposed to be this hopeful planet, and like even going into it, it's very silent, and they get there and they wake man up, and it's still very hopeful, but like something, the music doesn't give it away, man doesn't give it away, nothing gives it away except for your thoughts betray you.
Doc, victory has defeated you.
But like the cold, stark whites and blues of that planet, you're like, this is not right. Something is not right. But it's only the coloring that tells you that.
Yep.
And then, obviously, man betrays Cooper and that whole thing, which that scene's great too. But you're like, oh, I knew this all along, just based on how the planet looked, color-wise.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that your brain will process that subconsciously. And Nolan is just so good at that. So, okay, I don't want to step on toes too much.
Yeah, no, those were good stuff. Corey, you go ahead and I'll jump in.
So yeah, I mean, I think a couple things. Like, I agree with Justin. Like, so to look at it, I think some of the science on this show is absolutely amazing. Like, they actually used equations for the lensing and everything for the Gargantua, the black hole. And then in 2019, the actual picture comes in and it's like spot on. Like, it absolutely is incredible. So they do that kind of thing. Some of the other science they do, yes, when they talk about the wormhole and how the wormhole works, absolutely brilliant. Yes, that's all based off like theories and things that they've done. Then they talk about the dilation, time dilation, just Einstein's relativity right there. And then one other thing that people just don't kind of notice, I think it's such a quick thing. When they fly on man's planet and hit a frozen cloud and it cracks like a rock, and he says frozen clouds, that's all he says. That's mathematically, they've said that there are different planets that have different types of atmospheres because of their freezing points, temperatures, and all these things. That, you know, there's a planet that rains diamonds, right? Because carbon compresses into diamonds, and there's so much pressure that it's dropping diamonds. And then there's like this, a planet that has frozen, it's not ammonia, I can't think of what it is, but it's frozen, whatever it is, nitrogen or something that's up there that's freezes at a certain temperature. And so he hits it like an ice crystal. So it's just absolutely fantastic. They do some of those things. They're just little things that Nolan includes in the shot that you kind of like, oh man, a cloud was frozen, and then you move on. But it's scientifically, it's a theory that actually exists, that a cloud gets frozen on some planets. So he does such a great job of working with, I think he must have had a lot of scientists on there who were part of this show when he was making it so that he could work it into these angles. Some of the other shots that I absolutely love when he does this point of view outside the spaceship looking on the edge of the Ranger as it's flying through. And it's almost like you're frozen on the ship.
Yes.
And And I think that's a tremendous shot because it shows it moving and flying through different scenarios and scenes, and especially on the water planet when it's doing it and he's going over the waves. So I think those parts I looked at and I just thought, this is an incredible cinematography. We're getting this angle, and then we're inside looking back over and we see Cooper's shoulder and we see all the screens and computer and everything. He's flying and doing stuff, and then seeing them, like one of the best shots when they're trying to dock with Endurance and they're feeling so much G-force, their chairs actually swing to the center of the mass of where it's balancing. And it's such a subtle thing because he's leaning against it. Okay? Bran leans towards it and passes out. Because if you lean into that, you are with the G-force pushing all the blood to your head. And so she passes out because she starts to lean with the chair, like it got tilted. Did you guys notice that as it was spinning? Well, he's leaning like this and fighting it. And so he stays awake longer, and then he doesn't pass out until the very end. But so that's why Tars takes over. But he's fighting against it like this as the chair's going this way. And then it's a subtle scientific thing that he puts in there that you just see as part of the show. So just some things like that.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in real quick. When Bran does pass out, it's a subtle little shot, but when she passes out, her arms just like go like this.
Yep. Because it's like, all the G-force throwing up. I mean, they're pulling 12 Gs.
Nice touch. That's just like a small little thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, while you were talking, I realized this. So Christopher Nolan, I feel like he does these like Inception. You know, he does these big concepts, but he doesn't explain it too much, which is fine. Like he keeps the story flowing without overly explaining things. And in this one, it actually works to his advantage quite a bit because Cooper I don't think he cares. Like he's doing it for humanity, but he gets to the planets. Like he gets to that water planet. He gets to man's planet. And he's just like, all right, let's move. Let's see.
It's all business.
Like time is against us. It's all business. I don't really care about learning anything about this planet. Does it work or does it not work? And that works out with Nolan's style of just like keep it moving. Because Cooper just wants to get home. He doesn't care about the planet. Mm-hmm. He's doing it because it's his duty. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was it works for Nolan.
I think when you think about it, that's the difference though between the first planet with the water, that was a great scientific aspect to throw in there, time dilation. But man's planet was all about survival instinct, right? Man's the villain there. He's all about survival, even at the cost of other people. I don't care. I'm going to survive. And that's survival without being civilized. There's no morality in there. Versus Bran's planet, which is, I want to go here because love tells me this is what's drawing us. There has to be something more than just data and numbers. There has to be this. And I think he does that with the two planets. The icy planet is cold and dreary, and then you go to the other one, which is going to be a new planet that she can breathe on. And so, anyway, I think that's kind of, he sets that up with the cinematography of it.
Nice. Yeah, Corey, I'm really glad that you brought up the stuff with like the camera mounted on the outside of the Rangers, because I had that too. Because there's certain shots in this film that you just know that you're watching Interstellar, and those are some of them. Like, yep, that's immediately where I'm at. And some of the other stuff that I wanted to point out was the sense of scale in this movie is just off the charts. That you see this massive spaceship, the Endurance, and you see it almost microscopic compared to like Saturn just floating through space at certain points. You see also the size of that wave on Miller's planet, of course, to the Rangers. I think it's a mountain at one point, and then you're like, oh crap, that's moving toward us. Obviously we talked a little bit before about in Gargantua, like again, the massive Endurance compared to that, and it's this tiny little thing over in the corner. Just all of these shots are like, holy crap, the vastness of space. Yes, and how insignificant we are. But some other things I thought was really interesting was when Coop and Man are fighting, at one point it pulls out to this really wide shot, And it's like the thing, it's like right at the height of that fight. And I was just like, okay, why are they so small on the screen? And it was like, well, it's kind of like, it felt to me like there's this inversion of the smaller that they are on the screen, the more massive the stakes are. Because we're literally talking about like the fate of humanity is, as a result of this fight.
Of this little tiny thing right here. Yep.
Yeah, it looks insignificant, but they pull, because it at one point just pulls really far out. And there's a couple of times it does stuff like that where there was also...
You can talk about the endurance it does that. He pulls back and shows that same thing. The fate of humanity is on. Like there's a scene where it's all the way back, and here's the little endurance spinning, and them trying to come up to it. That's the exact same mirror of what you just said.
Yeah. Well, and there's another.
Well, and I feel like you don't even realize it because this movie has so many close-up shots, and then every once in a while, it pulls back, and you're like, oh, shoot.
See, that's the one I was pointing out when they're at NASA and they're going through and they're showing the pictures and they're like, this person's important and this person's important, and then they pull to a wide shot and they go, and here's Dr. Mann, the greatest of all of us, but they pull away so you don't get to see who the picture is of to preserve the whole Matt Damon appearance later. Which I thought, like, it's a weird shot the first time you see it. Next, you watch it on subsequent views, and you're like, yeah, they're hiding Mann from us.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
How good of a villain was Mann?
I mean, he's like a sympathetic villain.
Matt Damon was great in that role. He was.
But here's this guy who's obviously very skilled. He understands that he is a coward, and he fully leans into it. And he doesn't even like try and justify it. He's just like, yeah, I understand. Like, we got to save humanity. I am a coward, but let me tell you why I'm a coward. And he like breaks it down as Cooper is dying. And he just has like, oh man, if I was dying, I was like hearing the guy that killed me like talking to my ear, and I'd be like, shut up. But I don't know. I feel like he is a very different villain than we have ever had before,
for sure.
because he's not like malicious in any way.
He's not the Joker. He's not Bane.
He's not Bane. He's not like pure chaos. He's just a coward, but he knows it, and he leans into it, and he
it's almost
I don't
psychotic.
even think he tries to justify it at any point. He really just is like,
he's
you
like,
don't know
I
what
already
it's
made
like.
up my yep. Yeah. Well, the last thing I wanted to say before we move on to sound is just, and we'll talk about this when we get to the performance too, is that just epic shot of McConaughey's face as he's listening to his kids' messages, and they don't show the messages for the longest time. It's almost exclusively just his reaction, and this has been memed to death, as a lot of Christopher Nolan things have, where you just watch his face go from kind of neutral to laughing to crying hysterically, and you're just seeing that close-up of his face. It's just a masterfully done shot.
Yeah.
I actually really hate that has been memed to death, because that it's such like an emotional scene. Like he should have won an Oscar just for that, because that hurts. It is so like visceral on so many levels, and I feel like because it has been memed to death, it's hard to take it seriously, just because every time we see it, you think of the meme. But that guy is like,
he can act,
hurting. Like he's essentially dead to his children, but watching them grow up.
Yeah.
But grow up in a way where like he let them down. And he continues to let them down for most of his life. Yeah, like, and he knows, like, oh, they hate me.
Yeah. Corey, did you want to say something before we go to sound?
No, yeah. I was just going to say, that Matthew McConaughey, like, he's gone for 27 years. I just think to that. Do we ever see closure with his son? Like, we see him get closure with Murph.
This is what I'm talking about at the beginning.
Hence the intro.
And so
two
part
kids,
of me,
kind of.
at the end of the movie, I did partly go, and what about Tom? Nobody gives a crap about Casey Affleck over here.
We need to talk about that when we get to our final thoughts, for sure, and come back to that.
Because poor Tom's like, he died thinking his dad was like, screw you guys, I'm saving myself. I mean...
Well, at the very least, on Cooper Station at the very end, when Murph is there in her bed, one of the kids in the room could have been like, oh yeah, Tom was my dad. Or,
Tom was my dad.
Like,
yeah. Do we ever know
Tom.
that he went, like she says, oh, Dad, here's the watch. Oh, gosh, it's so great. Did he sit there and go, okay, now I'm going to go live with you in the silo and my kids will be saved? Or did he go, great.
We don't know.
But, okay, I can't wait 60 years for this rescue to come, so I'm going to continue farming? Like, and did he just die? And do we know?
All good questions.
Cooper doesn't seem to care about his son. I'm just saying.
He does it at early points. When we get to
Who, by the way,
dialogue,
I
I wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we get to casting, Timothy Chalamet does a great
Yeah,
job. With
great.
That. Anyway.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure.
I've seen the argument there where they go, "Oh, Cooper knew his son could take care of himself." Oh, maybe, but also, if I know my kid can take care of themselves, I'm not just like, "All right,
write him
see
off.
you when I see you." You know,
Yeah.
like you still
All he cared about is
and,
the daughter. Jeez, selfish.
So moving on to sound, and like my biggest one that had Corey already took with the silence of space, which
No,
is
now listen,
so cool.
I'm gonna go first here because I want to talk about and this is the one thing between those two scenes. This is perfect cinema with perfect sound. Okay, is the endurance spin, and because the moment that Matt Damon, you got that alarm buzzing and they're telling him not to open the door because he doesn't have a perfect seal. He's in the middle of his sentence. And you get the explosion because there's still a little bit of air in there, right? And sound travels through air. You hear the, start to explode, and then it immediately goes silent. It pans back. We know there's an explosion. We see Brand and Matthew McConaughey's face get the reflection of the explosion, the yellow flame. They see it. Absolute silent in space, which is what an explosion is. Like you could have a planet blow up in space, you wouldn't hear a thing. And so you see it explode, and it's just pure silence. And
are you telling me that Star Wars lied to me?
Yes, they
Very
did.
much so. There's
And
magic
so
in Star Wars, so it doesn't matter.
the beauty of that sound, and is that it's not sound, is that there is no sound there. That's the beauty of that part that they did with this, and I think it's incredible. And then immediately, when Cooper switches gears, hits the thrusters, and is like, "No, I got to go save this," and goes, and then the music kicks in. That is,
yes.
I mean, I'm not even gonna exaggerate when I say this may be one of the top 10 cinema scenes of all time in history that mixes sound, acting, performance with science. I'm gonna add, and then and cinematography all in one is that whole scene. That may be one of the most perfectly ever filmed scenes of all time.
And the level of character development too for Cooper, because up until now you've kind of just seen Cooper fail upwards. Like he's been outclassed and he's kind of made some poor decisions and he's kind of gotten mad at his crew and things like that. Like he's not been doing a bad job, but he's not been doing a good job. And at that moment, like right as that blows up, he just like switches gears and goes into like active mode, and he's like, "I'm gonna fix it." And then you're like, oh, this guy's like serious. This guy knows his stuff.
And then the tension, like it just built. You are on the edge of your seat watching this. Even though I know how it's going to end, every time I ever watch it, I'm like, you're just locked in.
It's still amazing.
I mean, I'm like this on my phone, holding it this close to my face. So, I mean, I'm just saying. And then you bring in Tars and Case voices in with it too, which are very kind of robotic but
they're not robotic either.
Yeah, no, but like Cooper, this is no time for caution. Like the robot itself knows there is tension here. We've got to get through this. There's no time for caution. Like those moments mix in perfectly in this show.
So last year when I did, I taught a class at middle school, like a film study class, like super basic, super introductory. And we watched this movie. I have never heard a middle school classroom be so quiet as to when this scene was on. Like those kids were hooked. It's I hate that scene because afterwards I'm like, oh, I gotta breathe again. Okay.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So good. All right. You guys want to talk about the music?
Oh wait, no.
The
Okay,
organ.
I got one for sound. For
Okay,
sound
go
and
for it,
music.
before I get into there. Yeah.
Okay, so Cooper is watching his films in the scene, like the backlog after he wakes up from his like little cryo sleep. What do they call it in the film? It's not cryo sleep. Is it cryo sleep?
I mean, that's what it is. But
the sleep,
whatever.
the deep sleep.
They have a name for it. So he's watching them, and there's music building in the background as he's watching it. It's getting more and more intense. And then when the message abruptly stops, the music abruptly stops. Like, boom, right in the middle, which doesn't normally happen, like, to a film's score. that'll happen to like diegetic music, like music that the characters hear. But it just stopped. I thought that was so strange. Like it did a good job of punctuating what happened, but usually a score will either fade out or come to an end of some sort. Just it stopped with the TV turning off.
It's like John Williams in Across the Stars and with Across the Stars and Attack of the Clones when the kiss breaks.
Oh wait. What case? What are you talking about?
Okay, so in Attack of the Clones, when Anakin and Padme kiss for the first time, and the big sweeping ballad Across the Stars is full measure of that, and then like she breaks away and the song drops at the same exact time.
In the arena? Where do they kiss? No, that's not their first kiss.
On Naboo, on the lake.
Oh, yeah.
Kids, because I show that in class, and kids always laugh because it punctuates it so beautifully. It's like the music stops, the moment is over.
Yeah, there's
so it's a similar vibe, is what I'm saying. Yeah,
it was just odd. Other sounds I really, really liked, but added to like the stress very subtly, is the Endurance and the Ranger. Anytime it was taking any sort of stress, like going really quickly or like going into the event horizon, the creaking and the rattling that you heard.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Of it. And there was even one scene, the very end when Cooper was going into the event horizon, and the Endurance is rattling, and his voice starts to go like it sounds like he's talking into a fan a little bit. I thought that was really neat. That really put you in it because he's, I don't know, he's like basically narrating his death, but then he kind of starts to sound silly.
Yeah,
thought that was well done.
Crazy, so good. So we got to talk about the organ music, right? It's 1926 4-manual Harrison organ of the Temple Church in London is the primary instrument for this thing. And like, I don't think I've ever heard I don't think Hans Zimmer's ever used an organ quite like this. And it's interesting that this is this very heady scientific movie on one way, but the music is almost religious in nature.
Yeah.
Because of the organ, right? And there are some leitmotifs in this one, and so I was just going to kind of just run through what some of them were. The first one is called "Stay," and strangely enough, it first appears when Cooper leaves Murph for the first time. But it's that same theme we hear in the Tesseract scene, where he's trying to reach through time to communicate with her. And what's interesting for that, well, that in itself I think is interesting. But we also hear where man. There's that betrayal with man, and he is looking there. He's trying to get to the one ship, and everybody's looking for Coop on the other hand, and Murph is heading back to the farm. They're seeing like all three of these things happen at the same time. We hear that song again, but the actual track for that is called "Coward," which I love. It's on the nose, but I love that it's called that. Some other ones we have the scene where. The docking scenes, that is actually called Cornfield Chase. It's the same one that we hear at the beginning where they're driving the truck through the cornfield looking for the drone.
I'm going to take a stab here and say that the name of these scores is not very inspired. I feel like it's just somebody like naming files on their computer.
Yeah. So the one that you were talking about earlier that cuts off earlier is called Messages from Home, which is kind of a
you're just literally naming what the song is about.
Yeah. You also have in this, but I think I was going to say this is my favorite, but this is like every time I watch like Monty Python Holy Grail, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. All of it's my favorite part. Another one that I love, the time motif when they get to Miller's water planet, and you can hear the ticking. There's a literal clock sound every like 1.25 seconds. Click, click, click.
It's so one day.
Yeah.
It's one day on Earth that goes by every 1.25 seconds. That's the tick. The time that they were on Gargantua. Every tick, and it makes you tense because this time I knew to listen for it. Yep. It makes you tense because you just look and go tick, 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 and you're sitting there going 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days.
Is that
you're just counting?
Is that true? Does that math work out?
Yes, and that's why they end up losing 22 years.
27 years.
Because 27 years.
Yeah.
So how many seconds are in 27 years?
Do the math.
Well, while you're doing you skip forward like 30 minutes when they're sitting there waiting for the engines to dry out.
That's true too. So here's another one for you, Justin.
You do jump ahead. You're right with the engines.
No Time for Caution is the name of the song where he's trying to dock with the Endurance after.
Well, that's because that's what Case says. There's no time for Cooper. This is no time for caution.
Yeah. So I just love the music in this so much. Like the rising organ stuff is
Yes.
it just gets to you. It like gets to your soul, man.
It's
Well, and a lot of it is in a minor key, I think. I don't know much about
Sure.
music, but I think that's what makes it sound like, what's the word? Ominous.
Yeah.
Just throughout, even when you're trying to be hopeful, or like when the Endurance is trying to dock with the other thing. Brain broke.
the Raptor.
The Ranger's trying to dock
yeah,
with the
the
Ranger.
with the
Yeah, it
Endurance.
adds to that stress level.
It's just epic, man. The
I think
stakes are just
the
massive.
song is recognizable on a epic level now. Like you hear this song and you know it's from this movie. Like
Yes.
it's so like Jurassic Park theme or Back to the Future. Like it just there's some movies that become an epic song that is easily, and it's that music that's played in that No Time for Caution. I think it's because that's played throughout multiple times in the movie. But
I would really like to be able to sit down with not me. I would like to see a conversation between a director and anyone who does the music on a film. Like I'm sure it's not just I know one guy gets most of the credit, but I'm sure it's a lot of people. And I'd like to see how that conversation goes down. Like, what kind of conversation do they have in order to develop the music that fits the theme? Like, do you think the director already has something in mind and he's like, hey, I want to do this, like, make that happen?
yes,
Or do you think...
I mean, it varies.
Do you think they listen? Do they watch the film and go, you know what would go really good here? Like, I know my music. Let me tell you how this would work. I would just love to see that process.
So
there's lots
the
of
reason
documentaries that
Zimmer,
talk about that.
yeah, the one thing that I saw was that Christopher Nolan told Hans Zimmer, "It's time for you to reinvent something. That endless string ostinatos need to go by the wayside. Big drums need to go in the garbage." And he did not give him any script or plot details for writing music. He just gave him one page of text that had more to do with his story than the plot of the movie. So it was like, and so Zimmer went to the cathedral music versus because he was told what to do, epic scale, but he couldn't do string, the violins and everything.
Because there is some string in this, but it's not the primary. But it's not the primary thing. It's the organ is the thing you come away with.
The organ is what you get in this for your main thing.
You know, it just struck me too. Go ahead, Corey.
No, I just think it's the point where you look and you say, Christopher Nolan building this movie, but still, even though he's not the music guy, still is saying, I want it to go this way. Like, my name's Christopher Nolan, and I will tell you what you're going to do.
At this point in his career, for sure. I
Well,
was
and
just
I
struck
wonder
by.
too. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So this is 2014, and like Zimmer's done like over 150 films. So I don't know how many films he'd done between this film and Man of Steel, but that was the previous year. And as much as Hans Zimmer, I mean, most of like Man of Steel's score is not that different than like the Dark Knight score or Inception, right? There's a certain kind of vibe that you go, oh, this is all kind of Hans Zimmer stuff. Like I can tell it's a Hans Zimmer score to a degree, right? With the heavy drums mainly, right? But then this score is such a left turn, and it's amazing because it is.
So I'm curious, 'cause Craig, you think about the music in movies way more than I do. I feel like when Inception came out, it had like a certain sound to it, and that sound for maybe a decade like trickled throughout movies. Like it kind of set the precedent for future movies. Is there anything after Interstellar that goes heavy on the organs because it took inspiration from this? Because I don't know if that caught on to anything else.
That's an excellent question. Not that I can think of. Yeah, it's
I don't know.
So much of this film is unique to Interstellar, I think.
Yeah, and it's weird that like this movie did so well, like in all aspects, and I don't feel like normally when you see something like this, you see a bunch of like copycats, but a bunch of things like in the same genre, kind of like The Martian. Like The Martian was similar to this, but we didn't really see a whole lot of like epic space odysseys after this.
No.
Lightyear from Pixar, actually. Never mind. There we go. That did it.
Anything else sound wise we want to talk about before we talk about a little bit about performance and especially dialogue? All right, let's do it. Okay, so I think when we talked about performance a little bit already, and we'll dig into like body language and stuff next time, but I think we all kind of agree that the performances in this film are really, really good.
I don't think there's as bad casting in this entire movie.
I agree.
I don't know that you could, like, I would look and say, who would be better in this role? I don't think there's a person in there that I would put in.
Yeah, I love McConaughey in this very, very much.
Everybody. John Lithgow,
He's
Alfred.
really good, yeah.
I mean,
Michael Caine, yeah.
oh yeah, Michael Caine. He's a dirty, rotten scoundrel. But I mean, I'm just saying, it is like
True.
it is just the Timothy Chalamet, whatever.
Yeah, Chalamet.
Yeah.
Chalamet, Ben, Casey Affleck. Like every one of
Ben's
these
brother,
characters is just done incredibly.
I feel like that's one of Nolan's like fortes. Are we praising Nolan too much? We need Andrew on here. We have a friend Andrew who
No,
hates
because I'll
Christopher
tell you
Nolan.
what. This is the only Nolan movie that I absolutely truly love. I think he's
Really?
peaked at this one.
You
I
haven't
think
seen them all, though.
He's
You've
peaked
been
here.
out for a lot of
This
years.
is the peak. After this, it's all downhill.
I don't know if it's downhill.
Oh, no. God.
That has a
Tenet,
negative connotation. Corey,
Tenet,
hard.
Oppenheimer.
I love Tenet.
No, nowhere
I love
near
both
this.
those. And you
No,
haven't
they're
seen
good.
Dunkirk yet, right, Corey?
I haven't seen Dunkirk, but
I mean,
Dunkirk also was a
Dunkirk is
shit
not
movie.
his best work, but it's
none
not.
of
None of
them are
these are
going to
bad
equal
movies.
Interstellar.
bad.
This was his peak.
It's
But what I was saying
It's
is
really good.
Christopher Nolan. I think his jam is good casting.
Yes.
yeah.
Like he just nails it every single movie, and he reuses a lot of actors. But I feel like the lead, he doesn't really typically reuse the lead.
Yeah.
But
No.
the supporting roles,
Other than
he
Bale,
definitely does.
right, in Prestige, but
Now, if you could just make
all
a
the way
movie
back to
in
Guy
90
Pearce
minutes.
in Memento, right?
Oh, I guess he does use Christian Bale twice. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah,
Michael Caine, Alfred, as Corey calls him. I thought Michael Caine did a really good job. Like he's already an old guy, right? But when he's the really old guy,
yeah.
and he's like dying, I don't know why old people do this. Maybe something with their teeth, but they like talk and then they close their mouth and they kind of like chew a little bit, and then they say another word. Like maybe they're sucking on their dentures. I don't know.
Trying to keep the dentures in
Michael
them,
Caine
maybe. I don't know.
like did the little mannerisms of being like a really old person so well
He
for
did.
already being an old person.
Yeah, absolutely
that was
did.
impressive.
Okay. Dialogue. Okay, I'm gonna limit it to 2 because we
Oh,
can
come on!
we can come back and start it with dialogue for part 2. But we need to.
This
we're
is
running a little
Corey's
bit long.
favorite part.
It is, but we get to do it twice, so when we're running a little bit long tonight. So, Corey, I'm gonna start with you. You get first pick. Pick a piece of dialogue, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. I'm going to go with... Now, this is going to be bizarre. I'm going to make a connection here, okay? It is the line where Cooper is saying, we used to look up at the sky and wonder at our place in the stars. Now we just look down and worry about our place in the dirt. Now, Calvin and Hobbes once did a comic. Bill Patterson did a Calvin and Hobbes comic, and it is absolutely one of the most brilliant pieces of writing. Hold on. And so they talk about Calvin and Hobbes are outside looking at the stars, and he says, let me look. Hold on, I got it right here. He says, if people sat outside and looked at the stars each night, I bet they would live their life a lot differently. He says, when you look into infinity, you realize there are more important things than what people do all day. That line from this movie, when I watched it, immediately brought that Calvin and Hobbes comment to me, because I think this is an injustice that we've done in our society because we have so much light pollution and things like that. Nobody looks at the stars anymore and is just enthralled with space and deep space and all of those things. Because I think when you do, you live differently when you look into infinity. And we've lost that touch of looking at stars. And that's why I think even things like Three Eye Atlas, this comet that's going through, has captivated a social media hysteria, is because people are finally looking up and seeing something and they have no clue what it is. But, to realize it's a comet and how comets work. But it's like people are realizing there's more beyond the Earth. And so it would make difference. And I think our world shows the injustice of that. We're just looking for our place in the dirt instead of looking beyond where we should. So that's why I think that's one of my quotes right there. Because I always love meaning in the movies.
Corey, I think of that often, like when you get talking to students and the number of students that have never been camping or really outside of the Tri-State. Because every time I go camping, I do that. Like I intentionally leave the top of the tent off if the weather's nice. And I just like look at the stars and I'm like, holy crap, like I am nothing. I'm a speck. But it's hard to get that perspective, oddly enough, when you're in a city and you can't see the stars. You just have this. It's like a scary feeling, but at the same time, reassuring to know how insignificant you are.
Yes.
So
it's one of the things that I think about all the time in my life is the Hubble Ultra Deep Field image. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but if you Google it, some of the images are. It shows that they took a small sample of the sky. It was dark, and then they took the same picture like for 30 days, and then it brought up all the light that was coming through. And then you realized, here's one galaxy, here's two galaxies, here's three galaxies. Like all the stars were not stars; they were actually galaxies, entire galaxies spanning through space in one small spot. And you realize, holy cow! When you see the vastness of this image, and you go, those are not planets, those are not stars, those are galaxies of billions of stars. And there's 10,000 in this image. And then you go, what does that mean? Like you are forced to go look into infinity and go, holy cow. And then it's just a life altering thing. And I think about that. I think about that thing like probably a dozen times in a week about what does that mean? How do you equate that with everything going on? And I think that's why Cooper's comment here, we used to look at our place in the stars. Now we're just looking at our place in the dirt. So there you go. There's my meaning. Sorry, took up a lot of time.
No, that's good. Justin, give me a quote.
Well, I'm gonna.
Please.
Okay. So, I've never seen the movie Coco all the way through. Have you guys seen Coco? The Disney Pixar.
I have seen Coco. Yes.
Okay, I subbed in a class once when I was a full-time sub, and it was a Spanish class, and they just watched Coco all day. So I think I watched it 5 times, but I watched like the same 45 minutes of it 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that 45 minutes really well, but I've never seen the whole movie. But from what I understand, the concept of that movie is like you go into the afterlife and you live in the you almost have like a second life in the afterlife, but only so long as you are remembered here in this world. And even though I've never seen that movie all the way through, I think of that a lot. Like how many generations before me as a person I don't exist, like before I'm forgotten. Because if you think about, anyone alive today doesn't know anyone of 3 generations ago or 4 generations ago. Right. It's weird to think, anyway, the amount of people that have lived that we don't know, and we don't know their histories and their stories. But there's a quote in here that always gets me, and it makes me cry a little bit, that Cooper says, and he says, once you're a parent, you're the ghost of your children's future.
Yes.
Like once you're a parent, that is your life. Your life is just becoming a memory for your kids. And whether that's a positive memory or a negative memory, it's going to influence them in a positive or negative way, which is just so freaking stressful as a parent. Because like every time you get mad at your kid, you're like, dang it, like they're going to remember that. It's going to affect them. But like also you got to get mad at them because like sometimes discipline requires. Anyway, it's just
that's powerful.
This movie is so deep for parents. It's a parental movie.
That's foreshadowing too, though.
Because they're the only ones that are going to think of you enough that more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Is your kids.
That's Murph's ghost.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're only going to remember your really good or really bad moments. And unfortunately, the way our memory works, we're going to remember the bad moments more so. Because that embeds in our emotional long-term memory more. I'm not a scientist, don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. Yeah, so I really like that quote.
Yeah.
Craig, what you got?
Powerful.
All right, I'm gonna go one heavy one and one light one. So this is an exchange between Cooper and Tars. And again, I have to say, the first time I watched this movie, it freaked me out when Tars was talking because it's not robotic enough for me at first. And I was like, who's talking? Because also, and we'll talk about this a little bit more next time, the robots are not the anthropomorphic robots that we usually see. They're just big Legos. But anyway, Cooper says, hey, Tars, what's your honesty parameter? And Tars says 90%. He says, 90%? Tars says, absolute honesty isn't always the most diplomatic nor the safest form of communication with emotional beings. He says, okay, 90%. And this is when he was checking with Brand. I said, okay, 90% it is, Dr. Brand. And then here's what Cooper says after this. This is the part I really wanted to get to. We've always defined ourselves by the ability to overcome the impossible, and we count these moments when we dare to aim higher, to break barriers, reach for the stars, to make the unknown known. We count these moments as our proudest achievements, but we lost all that. Or perhaps we've just forgotten that we are still pioneers and we've barely begun, that our greatest accomplishments cannot be behind us, that our destiny lies above us. I'm like, yeah, I mean, NASA, go do some stuff, man. I miss that.
Gosh, dang it, get up there.
As we were kids, man,
going.
it was like we were doing stuff. And like,
Oh,
we went to the
every
moon
week.
in the 60s. We have, like, let's go to Mars, man.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of social pushback for that, though, too, of just like almost like what this film does is, we got
about the
people
MRI,
starving, we
man.
got wars, wars going on. Like,
That's the thing.
I think
That's
it's
what
what
we're
people
doing.
don't
We're
understand.
looking at a place in the dirt instead of looking beyond and
Yeah.
going and rising.
Cooper makes that same bit. Yeah, if they would have, the MRI came out of the space program.
So that's
and
my
that
next
would've
quote. Okay, hold on. Now that's my next quote because that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that one.
Do it.
My next quote was when the teacher. Oh, and she's so perfectly cast. I wanted to throw my phone when she says.
Thought he was
We've
watching the
replaced
video.
them with corrected textbooks. You see, it's a government-approved version that explains how the Apollo missions were faked to bankrupt the Soviet Union. I believe it's a brilliant piece of propaganda that the Soviets bankrupted themselves, pouring resources into rockets and other useless machines. I was so mad at that and wanted to throw my phone because I feel like he's so perfectly, like, you could just see Cooper gritting his teeth
Yeah.
and how he says useless machines, like she has no leg to stand on. This is a guy who was flying a Ranger jet as a pilot,
Yep.
and he's like so far above her intelligence, and he's just gritting it. And I feel like flat Earth. I feel like all the things that are going on right now. 3i Atlas and people every week. Someone's throwing out a that is like a mass hysteria paper to be written about how social media is. People think it's an alien. Like all these things that people are just so ignorant. And I'm sitting there thinking, my gosh, he wants to get his kids into school. And that's the best the school's got is this woman who's so corrupted into believing a government approved textbook. Anyway, it just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
So
I think
you
she
know what
believes
makes
it,
me
too.
so mad?
Oh, absolutely.
That scene makes me so mad because it's so accurate. Because
Yes.
history is absolutely not what happened. History is how we tell the story of what happened.
Yes.
And that changes. That changes from generation to generation. So it's like our understanding, our generation. I mean, we're a little bit in age apart, but for the most part, like our understanding of what happened in the past is about the same.
Yeah.
But that's gonna change. Like as our circumstances change, our lens by which we look at history changes. History doesn't change, but we do in the way we interpret it, and it makes me mad to like see it spelled out so clearly in this movie, and I'm like, that could happen so easily, and I'm sure it does happen all the time. Anytime we get a new history textbook, it focuses on different aspects, and I just makes me mad. But what are you gonna do?
It makes me mad.
Yeah. Justin, give me another quote, and I'll go, and then we'll wrap.
All right, we got some heavy ones, so I'm gonna go lighter this time.
Yep.
Well, lighter, but the character is gonna die. So when Dr. Mann and Cooper are fighting, and he's like hitting his head against him, and he's like, Dr. Mann, there's 50-50 chance you're gonna kill yourself, and he just pauses. Those are the best odds I've had in years. Like,
Yeah. It's a good line.
got a point.
Yeah.
It's a very good line. I want to talk about that character more. Maybe we will next time.
Well,
but-
no, we will
Ah,
absolutely talk about
character's
that when
great.
we get into characters a lot. All right, so this one, you and I talked about this just briefly because I do want to save some room for quotes for next time too, just because we'll have some more people on it. Well, just a spoiler for that. That this might be Nolan's funniest movie.
Yeah.
Because
And it's not very funny.
but it comes naturally. It's not Marvel humor. It's not James Gunn humor.
No.
The explosion happens after Man betrays everybody, and Cooper says, "What's your trust setting, Tars?" And Tars says, "Lower than yours, apparently."
Well, just stuff like that where he's like,
Just super dry.
yeah.
But also like, yeah, dude, you
Tars'
should have trusted.
humor settings are
I
hilarious.
love
The
Tars.
interactions with that, and you want to make it down to 55, Slick?
Knock,
like
knock,
it
let's
just
make it.
is.
See you on the side,
Oh my
Slick.
gosh.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Hey, so I have a really embarrassing confession, and I'm only confessing because I'm curious if you guys did this too. I've seen this movie a lot of times, right? But
Yeah.
I'm also I do this in books, I do this in films. I have a hard time paying attention to character names. I don't pay attention to it. I know I should.
Yeah.
Like even while doing this podcast, I have to have IMDb up because it drops out of my brain. I didn't realize until this viewing of this film that there are two of those robots with them. There's Tars and Case.
In case.
Yes.
And Case is voiced by the guy that was like Bane's second in command guy.
I thought they were the same character. There's one scene where one of them is like docked into the Ranger and the other one is getting on the Ranger. I'm just like, what the plot hole? How is he docked and getting on? And then I realize
there's two of them.
Oh, there's two. So that's obvious. That's very obvious.
Yeah, and we
You
meet
never
Tars
see him in the
before
same scene though.
Sure we do.
When do you see him in the same scene?
I don't know. We'll
Not on camera at the same time.
No? Are you sure?
Do you ever
I
see
thought we
Bruce
saw
Wayne
him,
and
like, in
Batman at the same
different
time?
clothes
No,
and
because
stuff.
there's one on top in the where they're flying, and then Case is
Yeah,
always
one,
on the bottom.
One was on the Endurance when they got there, and then
Yeah.
Case was on the Endurance when they got there, and Tars went up with him. In fact, Tars is the one
So
that
what was the
tases
one
Cooper
where
went
Cooper-
outside of the thing, outside of the base.
So wait, Case is the one like doing the interrogation with Cooper.
No, that's Tars.
That's Tars.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Tars is the one who tased him. Tars is the security guard. I
Yeah.
caught that this time for the first time when
He's
he
the
tases
Marine
him.
one.
because he makes a comment about don't make me tase you again, because we don't see him because it's on the light. He's backlit and stuff.
Yeah, I'm
He's the
gonna stand
one
by
at
my
the fence
original.
line.
Of like, it's not obvious that there's two of them. For idiots.
Well, there's
Like
Tars and Case. Yeah, and then what? Kep or Cop or whatever. Kip is the one that's broken.
Kip's the one that gets blown up.
Yep. All right, we're gonna pause here because this movie is just so dense, and we clearly would need at least 2 hours to cover this. So we'll come back and talk more about Interstellar and get through some of our other things we like to talk about right now. So we'd love for you guys to share your favorite quotes from Interstellar with us, and we'll have a few more when we come back too. So we're gonna close, and as we close, we just want to say thanks for listening. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook. Email us at readingbetweenthereels @gmail.com, or use the SpeakPipe app on our website. If you enjoy the show, please like, follow, subscribe, and be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. And as I said, our next thing is our last thing. Our next episode will be the conclusion of our breakdown of Interstellar. Send us an email or voicemail about your favorite moments and favorite quotes from Interstellar, and we'll share it on the next episode.